Occurred, December 20, 2004. 2000 Location, Indianapolis, Indiana. Shape, disk duration, 1 hour. Characteristics. There were lights on the object. There were aircraft in the vicinity or aircraft chasing the object. There were electrical or magnetic effects. Drove directly underneath a UFO in Indianapolis. Saw the underside and inside of the UFO. My friend and I were driving cross-country from Missouri. We drove over a hill on I-70 and saw 2 lights in the sky. We were both immediately drawn to them, and we assumed that it was just a plane. I commented on the size of the plane considering how far apart the lights were. We kept watching it and realized that it was not moving. My friend said that it must be an airplane tower, but as we kept driving we realized that it was directly over the highway and it was not moving. All we saw was 2 lights until we were directly in front of it when we realized that it was a UFO. It was very flat and cylindric and sort of a gray color. We were both mesmerized by it and everything seemed to just stand still. The entire trip it had been very windy and the car was knocked around a lot, but for the time that we were driving underneath this, the wind stopped. There didn't seem to be any weather or temperature. Neither of us were even paying attention to driving. We were just staring upward at this ship. As we entered the middle of it, it went up into a dome. There was a flashing red light at the center of the dome, and I don't remember anything after that until we were a few miles away. We then noticed that there were a lot of lights in the sky and we could still see the UFO in the air behind us. The new lights turned out to be a swarm of Army helicopters that were all formed together throughout the sky, all headed toward the UFO. I watched the UFO sit there, and then all of a sudden shoot up directly into the sky. It zoomed around the sky for a while, shooting back and forth, almost like it was messing with the helicopters. It would come right back down to being 200 feet off the ground right behind our car, and then it would shoot back up in the air. We then pulled over and got a hotel room once the UFO vanished for good. But for an hour afterward we saw the Apache helicopters in the sky in the same place the UFO was. There were a lot of police officers out also that night zooming down the highway in the same place the UFO was. My friend had his window down when we went underneath it, and when we arrived at the hotel we noticed that he had what looked like a bruise on his face, and we were both nauseous and had very bad migraines. We took blood tests to test for radiation poisoning and both were inconclusive. My friend didn't sleep for 3 days after this happened. Also the same night that we saw it, we heard very unnatural things in the air all night, sounds that we have never heard before and things that we can't explain. The next day my friend and I checked our cell phones to see what time this had occurred, since we had made several phone calls and received several in that hour time frame, and found that our cell phone call list had been deleted. The calls made before 7 p.m. were still in there and the calls made after 10 p.m. were in there, but the calls during that time were not even in the record. Also, 1/2 tank of gas was gone for some reason.
Occurred, the 12th of February 2005. 10 o'clock. Location, Indianapolis, Indiana. Shape, rectangle. Duration, 3 to 5 minutes. Characteristics. There was an aura or haze around the object. There were aircraft in the vicinity or aircraft chasing the object as I was driving approx. 10 o'clock. I saw a white inverted rectangle in the overcast sky being intercepted by 2 aircraft, contrails. I was driving northbound on I-465, headed in a SE direction according to my compass in my van. At about mile marker 25 I noticed a tall rectangle in the overcast sky. The sky was typical gray-blue, as commonly seen here in the winter. I think this is why I noticed this shape. It was just up there in the sky to my right. It was white in color, rectangle in shape with a glow around it. Traffic was light to moderate at the time, so I was able to look around in the sky, and to my left, about north, I saw 2 contrails. So now I am watching this shape to my right and the contrails which are closing in on the shape on my left. I kept comparing the two situations, and the two contrails were headed right for the shape. As the contrails got close to the shape, they seemed to split into separate directions around the shape. The shape never seemed to move, change in appearance, it just floated there. At this point I went past the point to see any more activity. I have been around aircraft all my life. My father was in the Air National Guard and my uncle was a high-ranking officer in the Air Force. I also have worked for Boeing and WA. In the report I refer to contrails moving to intercept the shape because I never saw what these aircraft were.
Occurred, May 29, 2005 11:30 Location, Indianapolis Speedway, in shape, disk duration, 12 seconds characteristics. There were lights on the object left a trail, there was an aura or haze around the object changed color, there were aircraft in the vicinity or aircraft chasing the object stealth bomber and a glistening disc or bell in the way of family member and I decided to walk around the outside of the Indy 50 racetrack. We were walking south on Georgetown Road. On the left side of the street and we overheard people say the stealth is almost here and pointed it out. I could not see the stealth bomber yet. I suggested that my cousin and I cross the street to get a better view of the stealth bomber airplane which does a flyby every year before the Indy 500 race. Anyway, now we are midway between 30 Stone and 26th Street by the Pepsi parking lot and I see the stealth bomber coming straight over Georgetown Road. I looked up over my head and seeing what looked like disc moving like a chrome ringing bell. It hovered in one spot, blinding similar to the sun shines on chrome. The thing was higher than the stealth and the stealth was approaching the racetrack and the disc or whatever it was seemed to be waiting for the stealth. The stealth flies under the hovering thing. The disc seemed to touch the stealth bomber. It hit the stealth airplane from my view. We were right under both craft. The unknown craft stopped glistening and smoked a little as it hit the right wing of the plane. Then the craft started shinning again. The plane circled the tack one lap and went west in the direction of the Indianapolis airport. The right wing had some smoke come from it. Maybe that's normal, but the first 12 seconds was something to see. There was a couple leaving Pepsi for the race. The female looked at the disc or bell and said cool. After I seen the smoke from the wing of the stealth, I couldn't spot the unknown craft. After that someone had to record it. Just about 3 seconds before the stealth hit or got hit by the disc.
Occurred, May 29, 2005 11:30 Location, Indy, in shape, disk duration, 12 seconds characteristics. The object left a trail. There was an aura or haze around the object. There were aircraft in the vicinity or aircraft chasing the object. Pic from the net. I am 32. I lived in Eagledale since I was 14 years old and I know what I seen on May 29, 2005. I was not under the influence of anything that day or hungover. I have been searching the net for photos or videos of the stealth flyby Indy 500 race. I reported my sighting. I'm not the only witness. In regards to the 5th of September 05, I see why people don't report strange phenomena that they see because we are called drunks, wacko or this and that. Here a photo I found on the net I'm going to attach. I hope it helps.
Occurred, June 24, 2005 2200 Location, Indianapolis, Indiana. Shape, triangle. Duration, 20 seconds. Characteristics: there were lights on the object. June 24, 05. 5 lights forming a triangular shape in Indianapolis on Meridian Street as driving north of Meridian Street somewhere between 20th and 30th Street. My friend and I saw lights that formed a triangle directly above us. The amount of lights were 5. The object was hovering at a stagnant nature about 70 to 80 feet above the street. The lights seemed to be 10 feet in diameter, all the same size, considering the distance we observed it from. Because there was no sound emitted from the craft, we knew that it was not any flying object we were familiar with. We were not too far from the center of the city, so we assumed that many others saw it. We now regret that we didn't stop the car to observe the craft for a longer amount of time. If anyone else has seen this, please post a report. Thank you.